everybody. How was it? Okay, I'm gonna count to 3. I want everyone to shout out their favorite K-pop act from the show. You ready? 1, 2, 3. That was like one blob, but it was a beautiful blob, guys. I am so happy to be here in this room with all of us tonight. I'm looking around and there's so many beautiful faces, a huge Asian American audience, and we're right here. So historic. First up, I would like to acknowledge Mahi Theater, AAPI, Gold House, and the generosity of Taft tonight, especially for the tickets to the Asian American community. I am so honored to be joined by some legends on stage tonight. I'm going to just start off, if everybody could introduce themselves, and then if you could also add a sentence about how you're feeling tonight, and which K-pop act you would be a part of if it were a real group. There were suggested questions, and I'm off-roading this whole thing, so just be prepared. It's gonna be a party, guys.
Hi, I'm Helen Park. Production and arrangements for the show. I was tasked. I got the questions ahead of time. And I was told to prepare 3 words to describe how we feel. And this whole show, I was thinking about it. What 3 words can describe how I'm feeling right now? And I won't stop. I won't stop writing. I won't stop expressing all of the stories, all of the emotions that we have, all of our souls, my soul. I won't stop expressing that and hoping that more people will express, their own stories and their own emotions and experiences through the medium of musical. I believe that we need that on Broadway and beyond, and we need more stories. We need more types of music. We need more, we need more perspectives to be represented on stage and in films and all these different art forms. So that's how I feel. And if I were in a group in this show, I would be an artist. I want to be Rhea in Super Goddess.
Hello, I'm Han Seo-jung, a playwright. I feel like 씨발 존나 멋있다. That's how I feel. And clearly I would be the lead rapper in Fate.
Hi everyone, my name is Pan Bandu. I'm an actor and producer, as well as an advocate. I'm here representing the Asian American Performers Action Coalition. What I felt was such pride. I don't think I've ever been in a Broadway theater surrounded by this many fellow Asians. It never happens, and to see Asian excellence on stage, I was just filled with pride. And I think I would start a group with the boyfriend. What's his name?
My words would be proud, joyful, and angry. And I guess I would be in Fate, the Senior Citizen Edition.
John, thank you so much for joining us. You were obviously doing absolutely nothing for the past 2 hours. So basically, everyone's just introducing themselves, describing how they feel in a sentence, and which K-pop act you would join in real life.
Oh, okay. Hi, my name is John Yee. I played Danny in K-pop. You guys were the most incredible audience ever. Thank you so much. This is indelible in my memory forever. It's a core memory. 3 words just to describe how I'm feeling. I'm heartbroken and grateful and feeling overwhelmed. And there are many more words that could come out, but those are the ones that come to surface right now. And if I could join any band, I mean Artemis, come on, I mean. Yeah! Super Goddess is like so lit. It's the best.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna lob the first question to David, who is such a historic trailblazer. I think we should all be so honored that he's here with us. It is so cool. David, so, obviously we're here on such a historic night, but also on this amazing, amazing play that I think it's so rare for so many of us to see these kinds of stories represented in a very nuanced, precise way. And you were the first Asian American playwright to ever win a Tony Award. And you've seen kind of this arc of the fight for Asian American representation. A lot of it has been focused on screen, but I'm wondering what nuances of the stage, of that fight and this fight for representation that you feel like our audience here today and the greater audience out there really needs to understand.
I guess you can start with the fact that when I first started having plays produced way back in 1980, first of all, the term Asian American was still not readily being used. And second of all, white actors were still playing Asians in yellowface. And so if you look at it from that arc, there's been a lot of progress. And I think we can celebrate the degree to which a proliferation of excellent Asian American playwrights and artists and actors have exploded onto the New York stage, including Hansel, of course. But there are so many wonderful AAPI playwrights who are having works produced now off Broadway and in the regionals. And so where it comes to Broadway, we still need to do more work. K-pop is historic because it's only the 3rd time in Broadway history that a musical about people who look like us was created by AAPI artists. And so we need to figure out, how are we going to bring these audiences in? This is a show that belongs on Broadway, that deserves a longer ride. And we need to figure out how to make BIPOC audiences feel welcome, including See Ain't No More. So let's work to make these audiences feel welcome, blow it up to build it better.
Absolutely. Nice words from someone we all actually need to hear from tonight. So thank you so much, David. My next question is going to be for Pun. So your organization releases an annual visibility report, racial representation on New York City stages. As all Asians know, if you love something, you criticize it. So I was wondering if you could look at this industry history tonight, and give it a grade, and tell us why.
Our last report said that on Broadway, it was made up of 80% actors, about 80% white actors, 80% on Broadway only, 80% white writers. I think it was 90% white directors on Broadway, 94% white producers. So if I was going to give a grade, it would be a failing grade.
Say that. And that's silly. People, yeah, that's right. People need to know.
What we did, there has been, as David said, tremendous progress. We've been doing these reports for over 10 years now. When we first started, Asian representation was less than 1% on Broadway. So we've seen the increase. Our last report had us at about 6% of all available roles. But what we learned was that in the past, theater companies would sort of pat themselves on the back, that they increased representation by 2% from the previous year. And what we've learned from the pandemic and this racial reckoning, this moment in time, is that that change does not have to be incremental and gradual. You can create a tidal wave of change, and you can create the change that you want to see through a concerted, conscious effort. And we've seen the numbers, especially for Black artists, rise. But we also have to recognize that so much of the racial conversation in America has been so binary, and Asians have been outside of that conversation in many ways. Yeah, a failing grade.
And we can't accept that, so there's so much more work to be done. My next question is for Hansel. You are such an accomplished playwright who is so familiar with working with these really in-depth Korean or Asian narratives. You've had that history of doing that. And right now we're kind of in this moment where we're seeing a lot of Korean media being recognized and appreciated by the Western world. And a lot of times when you see this written about or described, it's described as a trend. And I'm wondering how, as a Korean playwright, you interpret this moment and what you do to ensure that your work and the culture that goes into it isn't being reduced to a trend.
I don't know that I can do that, reduce the idea of an identity becoming a trend. If you look at the queer culture and how that's, I'm queer, but, and when that becomes a trend that people are like, this is how we behave and this is what they're, I don't behave that way. And when I'm asked, what is it to be like a queer content creator, queer writer, I don't know what to say because I don't write in that trend of being queer. In the same way, the trend of being Korean is odd to me because I have been that all my life and it was a trend and it wasn't. Oh, good. Hashtag me. That's how we do hashtags. I know. Erase that. Anyway, I think it is our job as Korean or Asian or queer or whatever identity is trending right now, creators, to try to stay as rooted in me as possible, and to try and not be swept up in the trend, be a part of it, celebrate it, create on it, around it, of it, invite other non-queer or non-Korean, non-Asian, non-people into it, and say that celebrate it, but as my human experience, not as your idea of what my past life has been like, that you're suddenly now discovering. Don't discover me. Come and learn. That's so beautiful. I love that.
Hashtag me, everybody. Just go tweet it. I'm gonna go to Helen. Helen, I know right now is a pretty bittersweet day, but first I want to recognize that you are the first Asian female composer on Broadway. Especially, Asian women know that it is not easy, making it in any industry. And, we know this from both the corporate world or any other field, that ascending for Asian women is often very difficult. I think that people feel that because music is kind of transcends, faces and things like that, perhaps you don't deal with that. But I'm wondering how what obstacles did you have to get to where you are? And if there was kind of a concerted effort to buck certain stereotypes so that you could get here?
Yeah, I mean, I think the theater world and the composer world especially is very male dominated and, and white dominated. Like, it's really hard to find, on the Broadway level, especially, people of color, women of color, it's a lot, it's very saturated with, cis white men. But, so I definitely experienced it when I came to New York. It's like a boys' club, all the, male composers like to go to get a beer and talk about work, and, I felt a little bit isolated, for sure, but I chose to trust that the work can speak for itself, and I just wanted to get better at writing songs and get better at telling stories, and express the characters' journeys through songs and through the form of musical. And I think I was actually, I was really trying to follow, 10 years ago when I started learning musical theater writing, I was trying to look at other writers that were successful, and I tried to follow what they were doing, and studying all these work, and that was definitely helpful, but I always sort of, I always felt like I had to be like someone else. And then this musical K-pop came along, and back in 2014 I started working on this show, and I was like, wait a minute, I get to write a musical based on something that I've been listening to all my life, and writing as a hobby. I had such deep love for this genre of K-pop, but I was not ever thinking that is something I can write a musical with, and that's something that I can be really proud of and really, do all of the things that I want to do with, in a musical with, especially, with the bilingual lyrics. I was definitely, it was mind-boggling to me that this would be, this would get to Broadway. But what motivated me for this show actually was I just really didn't want to embarrass Koreans. I really didn't want to, I didn't really care if I'm the first woman composer or not, or a successor. I was just I want to make other Koreans feel okay about the show. And so I think you did a lot more than that. And I think that was the goal, and I kept writing, and I think that's what that's what caused this this to happen. The fact that I'm the first woman. But I think that definitely I definitely experienced a lot of stereotypes. A lot of people I realized would describe my music as pretty, or or expected it to be pretty a lot of the times too, and cutesy, especially when I'm like writing K-pop. So I was like, you know what? I'll give you America. I tried to really hard to like diversify the score, and yeah, it's been really fun. I'm really sad that like there's no more songs to write for K-pop. But sorry, yeah.
Lovely. I think we're gonna get, okay, we have to pass the mic all the way down to John. Also, how cool is Helen? Okay, so John, you have been with K-pop for 8 years, since the first workshop in 2014. That was a long time. Guys, that was like before Trump was elected. That was a long time. When you work with certain material for so long, and especially when it has to do with identity, you do grow and evolve based on your relationship to this material. So I'm wondering how you feel about your own heritage and culture after being tied to this project for so long, and how that's changed.
That's a great question. In a very succinct sort of explanation, this show has, over the course of 8 years, helped me reclaim my Korean American identity, and it's largely due to having people like Helen on the creative team creating beautiful things out of nothing. What I've learned over the course of 8 years also is that being a part of any original new work is an extremely vulnerable process, and the act of showing up and still showing up to the arena and fighting every day, it takes incredible amounts of strength and courage and grit. And so I just have to shout out to my cast who's sitting backstage right now. Like, you guys are on the forefront of my mind right now. We had 6 weeks of previews, and every day felt like a fight, and my cast showed up every day with a smile on their face, and you never would have known how difficult that day was. And we had some tribulations during previews. So cast, swings particularly, I'm so proud of you guys. So in terms of reclaiming my identity, I grew up, I was born in Atlanta, Georgia. And I grew up Korean American in a very white dominant area. And it wasn't until being able to do the show that I started to unpack and sort of unravel a lot of what those learned behaviors that I've come now today to look back in hindsight. I'm like, oh wow, I'm just a completely different actor, artist, and person because of this show. And being able to be a part of a show that celebrates my own identity it's something I'll cherish forever, truly.
Absolutely. Okay guys, so I was told that I would be able to see how many minutes I had left, but I can't see anything. So if anyone could tell, how many?
5 minutes.
5 minutes, okay. So I am gonna go to audience questions, if that's possible. I think we can squeeze in like 1 to 3 audience questions right now. There should be a mic going around somewhere. Oh, okay. Well, then, allow your voice to carry itself. Okay, we'll go right over here.
This isn't a question. Let me take my mask off. This isn't a question. This is the 3rd time I've seen the show. Whoa. Caucasian. So please, there are those of us that get it, understand exactly what you were trying to do. We're not all like a certain theater critic from a certain reminds me of the critic from The Greatest Showman. You know the scene where E.T. Barnum says, "What's wrong with you? You're a theater critic that doesn't like theater." I just can't, it's just. But this show, how could you not like it? And it's just absolutely amazing. Everybody behind the scenes, this is an artistic success. nipped at, brought down, that prevented it from being the financial success that it needed to be. But it's an artistic success, and to everyone in the cast, you are so unbelievably talented.
Thank you so much.
And one little thank you. The first time I saw the show, after the show at the outside there, Abraham was just so nice to me to spend some time and talking to me. And we talked about how he could see me in the audience having such a good time and how much it meant to him. And I was just so thankful that he took that time. So I appreciate that as well.
Thank you so much, guys. Okay, we have room for one more question. The blue in the front, super quick.
Hi, my name is Ashley Ha. I'm a Taiwanese American performer and actor. And this show means everything to me. Thank you so much for everything. My question is, how can we get this show back?
First, we have a cast album coming up. We'll spread the word, and we'll see what happens.
That's amazing. And thank you so much for sharing. This just proves, there is so much power to having these stories told. I want to take a quick moment to recognize the cast and crew. If you're in the audience, could you stand up? You guys can stand up. Everybody, we're so honored to hear from you guys. It's been such an emotional evening. And one more round of applause for such a
Ha ha ha.